So my special does come out. It's out now, and my brother did direct it. And I just want to say I'm really fortunate, man. I really am fortunate. Sure, I worked hard and stuff, but I'm really lucky to be in the position that I am, and I realize that, and I do think about that a lot, and my brother directed this special, and it's just so cool that he did it because I love him, and I mean, I really love him. Like, it's so awesome to have somebody like that. Like, people always say, like, oh, how many kids do you want to have? And I'm like, oh, two's good, because I had one brother and no sisters and no other brother. And everything that I couldn't talk to anybody about, I would do it with Matt because he was the only guy. And that bond, because of that, is awesome. Now, I'm not saying if you have 3 brothers or 2 sisters and a brother or whatever, you don't have that. But for me, I always felt cool that there was one other person that I could confide in and just know that that motherfucker was down to ride. And so was I for him. And of course I had an open, family with my mom, my dad. I could talk to them about everything. I mean, the first time I masturbated, I walked down and I told them, and I walked down and I saw it, and I was crying. For real, dude. I was a bitch. And I said to my mom, and my mom said, what the hell's wrong? She was eating like fucking jelly beans. My mom would always eat the jelly beans, and she would shuck them around her hand a little bit before she popped them in her mouth. Dude, it drove me nuts. I was like, why don't you just pick them up and fucking eat them? Why do you have to make it a game? Like, daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Hey, there we go. But I was crying, and she was like, what's wrong? And I said, it happened. And I thought she knew what I was going to talk about. And she said, what? And I said, coming. And she said, fucking go upstairs. Your dad's coming home in 10 minutes. And that was when I got to talk about the birds and the bees. And that is beautiful. But anything I couldn't bring up, I would talk to my brother about. And, I assume my brother did the same thing to me. We never hated each other. I think he went through some weird shit because I was the older brother. And just, it's weird when you're growing up with an older brother. I feel like you probably have to I did everything first, and then the second kid is like, okay, the second kid, we learned our mistakes, and it's like if you have 11 kids, the 11th kid is just like, oh yeah, what's his name again? So I feel like really cool that my brother, I feel lucky that my brother directed it because he's great. First of all, he's talented. But besides that, I love him, and I genuinely love him deeply. And to have him a part of this experience helps me, I mean, it was that way with my dad too. It was the coolest thing. He was in the van. I remember when I shot my first special, he was in the van with the headphones on, and I knew out there on stage he was proud of me in that van, And I would think about that while I was doing my special, while I was fucking talking to those people in New Orleans. And I got in my head a little bit with stand-up through the years. Like Incorrigible, I felt good about, and then I started getting a little bit insecure because I didn't know what else to talk about. Man on Fire was something that came out after Incorrigible as my third special, and the material I had, I loved, but I just wasn't in a good place in my life, and my dad directed it, and it was great, and I'm really proud of it. And I was still in my head. I shot Comedians of the World. I really liked the way it came out. I'm lucky to have what I have, and I'm lucky to have shot what I have shot in my career. But this special, No Pain, which is one of the reasons why it's called No Pain, because people always say comedy comes from pain. But I didn't really fucking experience much of that in my life, and I'm fortunate for that. And I always used to think that it would make me insecure. It made me insecure that I didn't have that real shit to talk about as a comedian. And this one is just like, fuck all that. I have what I have, and I'm really fucking lucky, and I'm really fortunate. And I'm going to talk about what the fuck I'm going to talk about. And I'm like, I have my dad. I'm like, I have my mom. I'm like, I have my own family, and my brother directed it. And that's a real fucking special thing for me, man. And so, thank you, Matt, for doing it. And you made it great. It's cool to have a support system. I don't know. I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear or not wanted to hear. I mean, sometimes I talk like that, and then people end up fucking being like, fuck you, bro, because, you don't know what real pain is. And it's like, okay. But some people fucking, look, I'm just trying to be honest with you guys sometimes. But yeah. So I'm excited. I'm really fucking excited. And thanks to everybody that ever has come out to see me and fucking supported me online, or even if you haven't come out to see me, if you just fucking tell somebody I'm funny, that's so cool. And I appreciate